Today's I think this is the fourth or fifth 50-minute webinar. We try to give you some insightful information, some new technologies available. We try to do it in 15 minutes, and then you can evaluate whether it's something that's worthwhile for you to pursue or not. But we try to minimize the time requirements. This one is entitled "Get the Requisition Right in Maximo and Increase Wrench Time." A lot of people undervalue the importance of the requisition. Uh, some people have online requisitions. Some people are still using paper forms. Some people are using post-it notes to basically initiate the requisition. But getting the requisition right is really critical to improving the overall process of your supply chain enablement. The key challenges are that technicians waste too much time entering a requisition, finding the right information to fill in and all that stuff. It's just too time consuming, too difficult, too challenging. And then once the entry requisition is in and off to the supply chain folks, the purchasing people, buyers, and so forth. Technicians waste too much time with follow-up calls, clarifications, in expediting, and then afterwards, when the invoice comes in, invoice discrepancies, and so forth. So the technicians waste a lot of time on their own, but then the rest of the supply chain, the downstream process of the supply chain, both the internal company personnel as well as the vendors personnel waste too much time also understanding what's being requested, asking for clarifications so they understand and ship the right parts, expediting itself, and invoice discrepancies, dealing with them and all that stuff. And then if the wrong part is actually shipped, technicians have to wait longer to get the right part in, have more paperwork to do to send it back, explain what they really want. The shipping receiving department has to process the return. AP has to deal with wrong invoice, and then the credit for that wrong invoice, eventually getting everything, the right invoice and getting it paid. Lots and lots of effects of missed opportunities of not getting the PR done correctly in the first place. So let's learn from Amazon. I mean, this is one organization that's doing things right. How did they get the item that you want when you order it last night? Late last night, 11 o'clock last night, they get it delivered to you the next day, today. How does that happen? Okay, let's compare what do they do differently from the requisition process in Maximo. One, they make the requisitioning items fast and easy. Okay, so anyone can walk up and just request something that they need. They have a great search engine that helps you find the parts that you want fast and easy. Okay, they make it super easy, friendly to maneuver, and very intuitive. How many people have had using Amazon one-on-one training? No one. Doesn't exist because it's not necessary. It's intuitive. It's easy to use, and they make the process very transparent. They tell you what they have, when you can get it, if it's available or not. They project delivery dates, and they keep you informed as to when they ship it, where is it in the cycle. You can track it, and when it's been delivered, and so forth. So lots of transparency. They validate the other thing key is they validate the information on data entry, not later when they receive a fax PO or email PO. They validate on entry. Okay, because you're using their system, all the data is being validated by them in their system. Okay, you can't enter a wrong catalog number because you're selecting from their list of catalog items, from their list of items. You can't put the wrong description in, you're picking it from their catalog. So you're selecting everything from their catalogs. In essence, you're validating against their catalog. There's no misinformation, no incomplete information, no further clarification required. They know exactly what you want. And there's no data entry errors or typos or corrections and so forth. When you enter data in Maximo, a lot of it is free-form text. A lot of it is basically information that Maximo has from the previous orders, historical archives, which are often incomplete, inaccurate, or possibly even obsolete. So basically, when you're entering in Maximo, you're not really validating the data. You're putting in something that may or may not be correct. So eventually, when that information makes its way to the vendor, it may be wrong, obsolete, and so forth. And then you have to deal with the consequences of that. Thirdly, they transmit the information electronically to their fulfillment center. Okay, it stays digital. It doesn't go from digital to analog to digital. Someone have to rekey then all that stuff. There's no PDFs involved. There's no faxes involved. Basically, it goes electronically from the time you submit a button, it goes directly to their fulfillment electronically. It's all accurate and complete. No data errors, no typos, no omissions. And thirdly, they transmit the information immediately, so it's in real time to their fulfillment center. That means a few minutes later, the fulfillment center can start actually fulfilling. I know when I pressed that submit button last night for 11 o'clock to get my stuff, shortly afterwards, someone's walking around the Amazon warehouse, picking things for me, putting in the box and packaging up, and it's out the door by, 2 a.m. Courier has picked up and it's out the door. It's on its way to me, right? So getting that information immediately is really critical. Maximo is a separate system. Okay. So from the vendor's order entry system, so basically with Maximo orders that are mostly being sent by email or possibly even faxes. Okay. An email PDF basically ends up in someone's in basket and waiting for someone to look at it, maybe the next day. And then eventually, when they look at it, they might need some clarifications or they may enter it in their order entry system and all that. But basically, it's a built in delay. With Amazon, there are no delays, there's no queuing. They start fulfilling immediately. So consumer buying, is this a fair comparison, right? Enterprise buying is different, and is this a fair comparison? Well, there are differences in enterprise buying. Yes, there are. You don't pay with your credit card. In the end, you pay with the PO. Government rules are different, right? It requires approvals. You can't just make a decision and buy something. You need probably your boss to approve it, and maybe even more people to approve it, depending on the amount. Okay, it requires multiple people to be involved for governance rules to make sure there's nothing wrong going on and so forth. Okay, so the person placing the order is usually a different person from the one that's actually requesting it, and the person receiving the item is usually a different person than the one that actually wants it, requests it, needs it, will be eventually delivered to. Okay, yes, there are some nuances like that, but fundamentally, to a large extent, yes, it's a fair comparison. Okay, so let me then take that further. So how can you make requisitioning items fast and easy? Well, you can add a powerful search engine to Maximo that helps helps the requester find the parts that they need fast and easy. Make the user interface better. A lot of people complain the UI is very challenging and non-intuitive and so forth. You can modify it, you can improve it, you can change it. It's very configurable. Okay, so make it better and make the process more transparent. Show whether you have things in stock, make it very easy to switch warehouses, storerooms, make it easy to see where you can buy it if you need to buy it, and so forth. So basically, and make it easy to get quotes. If they need to get quotes for services or custom builds and all that stuff, make it very easy to do so. You can do all that stuff in Maximo. How can you validate the information on data entry? Well, yes, Maximo is a separate system, like I said earlier. Okay, it's not the vendor system, so you can't, so it's not fully integrated. But you know what? Just like you integrate Maximo to your financial systems, your payroll system, and all that stuff, you can actually integrate Maximo to your vendor systems as well. Okay, an example of that is Punchout from Maximo to the vendor's online catalog. Okay, it's an easy way to select from their catalog, picking stuff just like they do, Amazon does. And when you bring it back, it brings back information electronically into Maximo. So the data in Maximo has been validated. It's been selected from their catalogs. Therefore, it's valid, correct, accurate, and complete information. You can also programmatically punch out, in essence, using APIs. So when you enter something in Maximo, you can use an API that vendors provide to check for against the item availability, price, quantity available, and so forth like that. That is available, and I'll show you how we incorporate that into Maximo. And then you can create a request for quote for vendors using the vendors, and therefore the vendors let them enter the information. Typically, this will be done on a portal where the vendors can enter information. Okay, and that information gets fed back into Maximo. So then you're using the vendor provided information that's been validated by the vendor, so it's accurate and complete. And how can you transmit the information directly, electronically to the vendor's fulfillment center? Well, via CXML. CXML is a technology, a standard adopted by the industry to basically integrate information from multiple third parties. So CXML technology can be integrated, and you basically punch out and get the catalog information from the vendor. You can also send your purchase order directly to the vendor. They can send you the invoice and so forth. Information can flow back and forth between you and the vendor all electronically. And for the vendors that don't have that technology, you can do it just via a portal. A portal is an application that you provide to the vendors for them to actually see and interact with your data. And then how can you transmit the information immediately? Well, again, that's CXML. CXML is the technology that transfers information immediately, almost real time. Okay. And again, for the vendors that don't support this technology, well, you can't do it. So, but the key is most of the large vendors, the big national vendors, the Grangers, the Fastenals, the Graybars, the Napas of the world, they have this technology. So basically, most of your vendors, probably 80% of your buy, you can basically transmit electronically. And vendors have 24-hour fulfillment centers. So they get your orders in at 11 o'clock, they can actually fulfill it the next day. So this is an example of what Grainger has, what Fastenal has, what MSC, this industrial has, and many other vendors. They do operate 24 hours away at a day. And if they get the order in at any time that the sooner they get it, the sooner they can start processing, the sooner they can deliver. Okay, so quickly, I'm only down to 3 minutes. I'm going to show you three things that we did. Easy Rec application. Easy Rec application is an app replacement for the desktop requisition. So we start with a Google-like search, one field where you type in everything you know about what you want. Okay, and basically we start with that and we display everything. We give you scores like Google, the most likely items on top. And when you select the items, okay, the keywords that can be searched anywhere, it doesn't matter if the keyword is in the description, long description, short description, a name, and the manufacturer and the model number, it doesn't matter, we will find it. So a powerful search engine is a critical way to achieve this. Okay. Um, then basically when you find the item, you can see the details about it. Again, make it user-friendly, make it very easy for the people to navigate, select things. Okay. If they need to change storerooms, show them all the storerooms available, make it very easy for them to switch from one storeroom to another. And if they can't find it, incorporate punch out so they can punch out to, let's say, Home Depot and search their catalog, seamlessly, pick things from the catalog and bring it back into Maximo. So that information is brought back into Maximo. The information is accurate, correct from the vendor. Okay, next thing we have something similar. Punchout uses basically where the user interactively goes in and basically shops the catalog. The vendors also provide an API so you can do that programmatically. So we have this feature called vendor price update via an API. So as you're entering information in Maximo, we will use an API to check against the vendor's catalog and validate this information, update this information, and give you accurate current information right in Maximo from the vendor's catalog. Okay, so for example, if the vendor is a vendor that we have a bunch of catalog enabled integration with, and that you have a catalog number, a vendor's catalog number, we will call the API, say, hey, this vendor for this catalog number, give us the information, and we will update this information in Maximo. So we'll tell you what the current price is, what you had, we'll leave, and then what the price from the catalog is, and when it was updated and stuff like that. So basically, in real time, we're getting information updated from Maximo. And then lastly, quick quotes, basically incorporating Maximo, extending Maximo to give you easy quotes for purchase requisition. So in the PR application itself, we add a button called Create RFQ. Okay, from within the PR. Okay, so you are still in the PR. We incorporate the RFQ functionality where you can specify the details about the terms and conditions of the RFQ, when it's due, and so forth. Okay, you add vendors that you want. You select vendors that we give you. We help you select those vendors, and basically you request a quote. You press a button. The quote goes. The request goes to these vendors on a portal. They can actually enter their information, submit that information back to you, and that goes. The information goes right back into Maximo. So this is their bids coming back electronically into Maximo, making it very efficient, fast, easy to get quotes from multiple vendors. And once you do, you basically go through the process. You get all the details, the model number, the price, all that stuff. Okay, you select your winning bids. Okay, when you select the winning bids, you then update the PR. This will update information from the quote to the PR, and you can then submit the PR for approvals and so forth. So difference between consumer and enterprise, yes, when you press submit on the consumer buying, the order is actually placed. In enterprise buying, when you do it, it has to go for approval. So we'll bring the information back into Maximo, create a requisition in Maximo, and then we can have workflow and Maximo and automation scripts and so forth, send a PR for approval within your approval structure. Okay, eventually when it's approved, we will create a PO in Maximo, and eventually we can send that PO from Maximo directly to the vendor. Okay, our take, how you can transmit the information. Well, we offer full CXML integration from Maximo to the vendors for order placement, order confirmation, revision, advanced shipping notifications, and invoice imports. Okay, and we also have a portal for smaller vendors that don't support CXML. We provide a portal where they can do the same thing basically via a portal. And how can you transmit the information immediately to the fulfillment center? Well, that can only be done with CXML technology. The portal does have a few steps in between, whereas direct real-time transmission is only done through CXML. And like I said earlier, the large, big national suppliers all have this technology. They incorporate this technology. And so for probably 90% to 80% of your orders, you can use this technology. So we can do this immediately, transfer the order. We can immediately get you confirmation back. We can get you advanced shipping notifications, which will help with the receiving, and we can import the invoice electronically into your match it and import it into your system. So in summary, PR is a critical process to get what you need when you need it with the least amount of effort. It's a critical piece that a lot of people overlook the importance of. Okay, but if you get the PR entry right, not only will you keep your technicians happy that they have less manual things to do, it's easier to work the computer and so forth, but they'll be a lot more productive. They'll have more wrench time to do what they are supposed to be doing. Okay. But you will also keep the entire supply chain of the organization, the downstream processes productive and efficient. So your buyers, your receivers, your invoice AP clerks, and so forth will all become more efficient. Overall, you'll become more dynamic and more responsive organization. And that's it. Hopefully I finished roughly in 15 minutes. I appreciate your time. If you like this, please contact us. We can give you more information. We can give you more in-depth assessment uh, and so forth. Um, but thank you for your time. And if you wish to stick around, we have time. We'll stick around and we'll take any questions.